Greetings, Webb community. Here we are for our next edition of From the Head to the Feet. Today, I'm excited to spend some time with my friend Nicole Taucare, who is our Dean of Academics and Arts. So, Nicole, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
First question for you, Nicole. Webb has always been a school who takes our academic work very seriously, really driven out of the mission which says to turn out young people who are accurate scholars. So as we start this conversation today, let's talk about what that looks like today in 2022.
Sure. So, the Webb School is steadfast in that mission in helping students reach their academic potential in a college preparatory setting. We are striving to help students equip themselves for college entry. And what we look for really in that area is a best fit for the student. So we work with their individual strengths to achieve those college entrants. Our curriculum is a baseline of college preparatory classes, and in that curriculum, our students are pushed to write across the curriculum. We ask for them to use their critical thinking skills, and that looks like an analysis and synthesis at various different levels. In addition to our baseline curriculum, our students have the option of honors and AP classes. We've just recently looked into some AP data, and across the board, our AP success rate is greater than the global average. I'm really pleased to share that.
You just saw that data, and that pleases me as well. Yeah. It's good stuff.
So those honors and AP classes are really for the students who are ready for that additional challenge.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's drill down a little bit in a little bit more detail there. So what do you think are sort of the key components in ensuring that the students gain the academic skills they need to flourish? And you just mentioned some of those skills, but how does that happen at Webb?
Yeah, so research has always shown that the faculty have the greatest impact in the classroom. And so we are blessed with faculty who choose to be here at Webb. They choose to be here because they want to know their students first and foremost and want to invest in those students. So they are interested in investing in that student's intellect, but also in their character. And I think that's a really important piece to the Webb education. Honor, integrity, respect, service to others, these are all key components to character development at the Webb School. And our faculty help students reach the potential in that character development all throughout the program.
Okay, so I hear you talking about relationships at Webb are really the key to helping know the student and help them become their very best. Certainly through the academic rigor we have, but the character piece that is just inextricably bound to that academic piece.
Correct.
Good. Well, to accomplish these heady goals that we have, it's one of the reasons that I'm here is I was so drawn to our focus on a quality academic experience. But to accomplish these goals, what kind of teaching is required, right? So we know what the goals are in terms of some of the outcomes and skills that we want, but what teaching is required to get there?
Yeah, so you just mentioned a core piece of that is this faculty-student relationship. And so we are really looking for teachers who are going to be their content experts, but are always going to put the student first. And so that the teaching is built around that relationship, and we're able to achieve that in a safe and supportive environment. In addition, our teachers need to really be experts in classroom management. Instructional time is something that everybody needs more of, and so we're really looking for people who are, that teaching is really taking every minute of the classroom that they have available to them. In addition, I think data-driven instruction is important. We need to look to the data that we get out of our standardized tests to see how our students can continue to grow and use that feedback to help our classroom instruction.
Okay, I like that. I think the collegiality that I find here among the faculty clearly is a piece of what makes us so good. But that external piece, as you and I have talked about many times, I think is also important. And I appreciate that you bring a focus on that as well, to say, okay, we said we wanted to accomplish this. Are we seeing indicators outside ourselves that we're actually doing that? And if not, figuring out what adjustments do we need to make. So that's right. It's good. Well, one of the changes perhaps that we have at Webb is not just a focus on academics, but trying to focus on the whole student through academics, arts, and athletics. So how do you see these three complementing each other at Webb right now?
Well, I think what it does is it creates a very well-rounded student, and it allows our students to pursue personal passions. And I think that's something that's really important. I think also, in terms of what we're looking at to prepare students for college, one of those really important skills that they're going to need is time management. And I think that our students who are involved in multiple areas of our student life really learn how to balance their time. And to manage their time and to plan ahead and to make sure that they're hitting excellence in all three of those areas. There is lots of research that shows us how the arts program, for example, increases brain development, and I think that's something that all of our students should have a piece of, and in fact are required to do some arts, right? In addition, I think that the students have an opportunity in other spheres outside of the classroom there to be able to interact with students who have different backgrounds or different interests of them. I also think that there's lessons that are learned, for example, on the soccer field or the basketball court that we maybe strive to do in the classroom, but doing it in a different way sort of reinforces that. And that includes, building skills like communication and collaboration.
Right. Well said, and I see lots of evidence of that, so thank you for that. We've also strengthened our Learning Center over the last 2 years. We've combined the Study Center with the former LIFT program. And so how do you see this helping our students in enhancing the entire teaching and learning culture at the Webb School?
Yeah, so I first want to give some kudos to Christy Sutton and Grace Benedict, who have joined us this year in that in the Learning Center.
Phenomenal additions.
They are amazing. And so our students are really able to get some individualized attention there. So for students who need learning support, they do have individualized learning plans, and one of the things that they've tweaked this year that I really like is that those learning plans also include the students' learning strengths in addition to where they have some weaknesses. The instruction in the Learning Center focuses on the student on that weakness and helps them strengthen that area, but it also teaches them some executive functioning skills. And I think that is really great because that's the sort of the purpose of that Learning Center program. In addition, they've enhanced their communication with all the constituents who are there for the student's success. So that includes advisor and teachers and parents. And they have added some additional resources for students with accommodations. And that looks like something, potentially a program that will help a student read if they need something like that. And then I'm excited to announce that we are expanding our study center. And so we have currently an upper school study center, but next year we will be including a middle school study center. And so all of our students and all of our faculty will benefit from that support.
Great answer. A lot of excitement on campus about this combination of the study center, learning center. But let's answer what might be an objection right now, which is, so we're taking kids who are not going to college and they just have a special program that's not connected to the rest of the academics?
All of our students are college bound,
right.
And so these are students who may have a learning diagnosis that makes learning in particular areas maybe a little more challenging, but not impossible. And so we are still taking students who are college bound students, but may learn in a different way.
Right. And I think that's important as we're talking to the feet all over the world right now, that these students really are have the same end in mind that students have for over 100 years at the Webb School, but we're understanding the brain more and more, and we know how to help them get to that end, perhaps slightly differently than we did in the past. And I think it's a value add for everybody involved. So.
And a lot of colleges and universities also continue that learning support that our students will have here. They'll have access to those accommodations in the higher level as well. Very
good. What do you see as changes or challenges in the future of education? And I have written and spoken a lot about this from the perspective of the future is going to be quite different than the past. And it's such a dynamic period in education. So talk to us a little bit about those changes that you see.
Sure. I think there's one more immediate challenge, and that's the impact that COVID has had on our students. We see that impact currently. We're two plus years into this pandemic, and our students have had some challenges in terms of the prior knowledge that they're bringing with them to the Webb School. So we see that. We see maybe some changes in maturity, and in addition, there's certainly some mental health challenges that we have to address amongst our student population and quite frankly amongst our adult population as well.
Indeed.
And so, I think COVID presents a challenge. If you look at our 8th grade class, their last uninterrupted year of school was in 5th grade. So their entire middle school experience has been impacted by COVID. And so I think we have some work to do in that area as to how to both identify where those gaps might be, but also try and figure out how we're going to fill those gaps so that they can be successful moving forward. Excuse me. In addition, I think, as you mentioned, the world is ever changing, and we are educating kids for a future that we don't yet know. And so I think what we need to really be thinking about is how are our students agile, how are they innovators, and how do they problem solve? And then equip them with those type of skills in our classrooms, on our fields, in the strings program, et cetera.
Right. So again, coming back to a similar comment that we made about the Learning Center, the end is the same in terms of we want all of these students to gain access to and thrive and flourish in college. But what we're seeing, not just here at Webb, but across the country, is we're going to have to figure out a different way to get them to a similar end in terms of those critical thinking skills and the ability to write, the ability to analyze and synthesize. But the pandemic has been a big interrupter. Yes. No question. And we're grateful to have a faculty who are really smart people, who are really dedicated to these kids. And so I'm confident, and you and I have talked about this, so I know you are, that we're going to be able to work with this faculty to get to that same end. But it's a different path than we thought 3 years ago when we were looking at this, for sure. Okay, so lastly, Nicole, as the Dean of Academics and Arts, what would you say to prospective parents about why they should consider a Webb education?
Sure. I think first and foremost is that your student will come first. I, as a parent of a current Webb student, can tell you that without a doubt that I know that my child's classes, she, in the eyes of those teachers, is the reason why they're here. And so I will say that with a lot of confidence that your child will come first. I also think that we offer a very unique program in terms of how we are equipping our students and towards that end goal. They are interacting with students of different backgrounds from all over the world, and that is going to both broaden their perspective, but also better equip them in their life beyond Webb and even beyond college, right? So not just at the next step, but as adults. I think that interaction that they have with students from all over the world is really going to be potentially a changing factor in what they do. And lastly, if you think about our setting, we have such a beautiful campus, and our faculty really take advantage of getting kids outside. We have programs outside, we have outside classrooms, and it is a literal breath of fresh air to be here.
Yeah. Well, thank you for those thoughts. Thanks for listening again. This is our latest edition of From the Head to the Feet, and really glad to have Nicole Taucare, our Dean of Academics and Arts, with you. I'll close with reiterating we are committed to a core academic program that equips our students to gain access to the colleges and universities that best fit them and to flourish and thrive when they get there. Not just in academics, but the broad experience that they're going to have at the college level. And I think we do that exceedingly well, and I think the future is really, really bright. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.